Hello and welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. My name is Leah and I'm the creator behind Thrifty Day. I just finished doing my Journal Talk Tuesday live and it was a wonderful and engaging and just all around like informative live. If you missed it, be sure to check it out. All my playbacks, all of my lives are saved on playback here on YouTube. There's actually a live tab, but right now I actually have it under my most recent videos too. So it should be pretty easy to find. And it's all about how to deal with unkind comments or unkind content here on YouTube or even across all of the other platforms. It was such a wonderful opportunity to educate each other and to communicate. It was such a positive, wonderful, safe space. I think everyone would agree on that. So if you were interested in seeing the playback, be sure to check it out. I do go live every Tuesday for Journal Talk Tuesday. We try to talk about things that are happening in the journal community. I also do live journaling. So if you're not there for the deep dive conversations, maybe you just want to catch me doing some live journaling. Today I worked on my junk planner. It was really fun. I did a whole layout. I will try to link some of that content here so you can see. But today, now that I'm done with Journal Talk Tuesday and I went out to lunch, I may or may not have had a margarita. I need to spend some time shipping my Etsy orders. So since I was going to do that, I thought it would be really fun to show you how I plan on packing up my journal order. I did make a journal in a series of tutorials over on TikTok, and then I embellished it and decorated it over on a Patreon live. And so I put that in my Etsy shop for one of my most recent drops. So I thought I would pack it up. I thought I would share with you my thought process and how I pack up my orders so that you could see, or if you're new to shipping and packing, maybe you had some questions, or maybe you just wanted to be inspired for your own packaging. This is the video for you. Okay, so I am going to get started. That's going to be a tabletop view so you can really see. And again, if you wanted to check me out on Journal Talk Tuesday, or if you wanted to participate in future ones, it's every Tuesday here on YouTube at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is the layout I did on my Journal Talk Tuesday live. It is a combination of Happy Mail and my own personal junk. There's some stickers, there's some cards and some letters, and it's just overall things that make me happy. Even though there's cute little rain cloud stickers on there, I wanted to use those. I am on the Autonomous Wood Patreon, and that was, I believe, a couple months ago, the stickers that came in her Patreon mail. I also use Goodnight Moon stamps for my pen pal tier on Patreon, so there was that little sticker left in the middle, and I put that into the layout as well. Overall, I love how it looks, and I love how my junk planner is coming along. So now let's get into the packing order video. I made the journal you're looking at exclusively on tutorials over on TikTok. It's in 3 parts. It's generally, in my opinion, very easy to follow. I also made this cute little trinket box. I'll give you a better look in a minute. But if you wanted to see a tutorial here on YouTube for this exact style of journal, you can find one. I have linked it in the description box. It's also in my How to Make a Journal playlist, and I also think it's in the popular video playlist. So I did the basic tutorial over on TikTok, but I embellished this journal on a Patreon live. That live is saved in my collections tab under lives, and I believe How to Make a Journal as well. So if you wanted to see how we completely embellish this journal, be sure to check out that video and join us on Patreon. I didn't make the charm on any video, but I have lots of charm making videos here and on Patreon and on TikTok. Look under my tutorial tabs. I have this exact charm tutorial. You can find it in many different varieties across all of my platforms. So don't worry, you can find it. Let's do a quick flip through. There's a whole variety of very eclectic pages in this journal. I think it does have a sort of very nostalgic childlike vibe with paper dolls. We added that really fun playing card that's in the shape of a circle. There's lots of very just nostalgic moments. You know, things like playing cards. All of the original pages are in this book. They are not in order. That's not something I prioritize when I make journals. I do know that there's a lot of journal makers out there who have tutorials that show you how to keep all of the little golden book pages in order. If you were looking for any of those, just type that into the search bar and I'm sure a few will pop up. I know Paper Terrace makes one and probably Madeline Diet Designs as well. I will link both of them below. But I love the size. I think it's perfect. It has a rounded spine and everything that you are looking at is removable. So if you didn't want that big bow or any of those little bits of ephemera, you could take it all out. I like to keep my journals as customizable as possible. This is a fun little addition that I made for the recipient of this journal. This is a vintage playing card box, and I just filled it with, you guessed it, trinkets. Isn't that cute? I don't know. I thought you could make charms. You can add them to your trinket jar. Trinket jar, if I can get my words down. All of these little bits and bobs are just fun. They're for fun. If you're wondering what's the point, there really isn't a point. It's for fun. It's nostalgia, and you can use them as craft supplies, and the little box is vintage and sweet. I will have more of these coming to my next drop. Vintage playing card boxes filled with trinkets, so stay on the lookout for that. Join my Patreon if you wanted to be among the first to know when those will be available. When I package up my journals, if the charm is especially chunky, I will remove it and pack it separately. I use the clip to put it onto a vintage playing card. You don't have to use a vintage playing card. You can just use cardstock. I wrap the long tails around it. Again, if the recipient doesn't like long tails, they can snip those right off. And then I try to make the bag as taut as possible so there's not a lot of movement in that bag. When I'm shipping orders, the goal is to make things as safe and secure as possible, but also as beautiful as possible. I also always try to make sure that everything I send in the package is something that can be used in journaling or junk journaling or even crafting. So now that the charm is complete and wrapped and ready to go, I'm going to focus on the journal. The trinkets don't need any additional wrapping. They're in a nice safe box, and they will just be put into the package in a sort of decorative way. So first I'm going to add some ephemera right on top of the journal. Yes, as you saw, inside the journal is packed with ephemera, but I love adding a little bit extra right on top because I feel like right when you open your package, you're inspired. I also think it makes the overall packaging very appealing. It's not just a journal in a bag. So what you're looking at is an overall mix of very vintage paper items, modern items, crafting, some of my own personal stickers, just things that right away when the recipient opens the bag, they will get excited to want to create. The fun part for me as the creator is actually pulling all of these odds and ends to include with the journal. That's just something I always look forward to. And so now that I have all of them together, I will slip the entire bundle of ephemera and journal into a bag. I always put them in a plastic bag for safekeeping. You never know what's going to happen to the package. Once I drop it off at the post office, it is out of my hands. So my job is to make sure that it's safe, secure, as waterproof as possible. I just want to make sure that even if the package is damaged, the journal inside will not be. I always like to add ribbon or twine around the journal. I contemplated putting that little box on top. I ended up not, and I'm just going to use this yellow and white twine because it's very whimsical, and I'm going to tie it around the package using a knotless bow. If you wanted a knotless bow tutorial, I actually do have a very short and concise knotless bow DIY here. You can find that on YouTube. I believe it's in my general craft tutorial playlist. I am so grateful I worked at Country Collection in the early 2000s. They taught me how to gift wrap and to make knotless bows, so shout out to you. It's not around anymore, but those were some really fun times. And I learned a lot about gift wrapping and decorating. Now that the decorative packaging is done, it's time to get this shipping ready. So I have a shipping box. You can find shipping boxes anywhere, at any office supply store, even on Amazon. And then I also include some decorative, like sort of pretty paper. I have a thing for checks. I usually like to use different colored checks. This time it's pink. I also like to make sure my boxes are branded in some way, as you saw a few seconds ago. It just says Thrifty Day. I just like when the recipient opens my box to know immediately that this package is from Thrifty Day. I'm adding some paper shred because, as I said, I don't want anything moving around in transit. I'm going to put the heaviest item on the bottom, and then I'm going to include the other two items right on the top. And I do try to find a box that is almost exactly the right size so that the items don't move around. You don't want it to be too big, and you certainly don't want it to be too small. I'm going to include a personal note on one of my collage postcards. I do make those collage postcards every month, and I've been doing that for the past year. I love them. That was my freebie. It's like my Christmas 45 freebie. I believe that's what I called it. Anyone who purchases this month while supplies last will receive one of those freebies, and it includes stickers and lots of little goodies. I'm including additional goodies and putting a gold clip on them because everyone loves stickers in their junk journal. And I'm also going to choose a playing card to include in the package. I thought this one was adorable. These are like children's storybook cards, so I thought it was appropriate. I'm also including some Thrifty Day flair and a commemorative coin that I actually purchased at Disneyland, but I thought it would be fun to include because it just feels special and it's really heavy. You may be wondering, why do you include so many freebies? For me, that answer is simple. Many of the people in my community have supported me for very long. They're on my Patreon. They're in my comment sections. They've turned into dear friends. So I don't always look at it as I'm sending a journal to a random customer. I look at it more as I am sending a gift to a friend, a gift who kindly supports me, who believes in me, and who trusts me. So I like to put my heart into packages, and it's my way of just making sure they know how grateful I am for them and how thankful I am. Not everyone loves sequins, but I do. I then try to make sure that the tissue paper is nice and taut. I do try to get a very high quality tissue or wrapping paper because I like to make sure it sort of holds everything in place. I make a nice seam so that it looks pretty. I make sure it's nice and taut, and then I add my Thrifty Day sticker right on the top. And that's it. Now it's time to weigh it and get a shipping label on it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something and maybe you were inspired. And I hope you watched to the end. I'll see you all on the next Journal Talk Tuesday. Bye.